God. This is going to be an upset, it looks like. This is almost like a futuristic thing that's happening. The future of the royal family. Somebody who isn't taking it anymore. 8th house is revenge. He's getting some kind of revenge. Before we get to the first chart, oh yes, I went there. We are going to have a Queen Lilibet show on, when is it? It's going to be February 14th. It's going to be a nice little Valentine's gift for you guys. This is going to be crazy. Yes, I think that Queen Elizabeth's great-granddaughter is somebody very, very special. So we're going to look at the charts. And yes, Amber is in the green room. We're going to bring her in. Oh, it's scandalous. It is beyond. You are going to have an interesting insight into what could happen decades from now. And it's going to be pretty powerful. So I know I'm promising a lot, but you will see. Okay. So now we're going to look at Camilla's chart right now. She is in a Venus chart, which is a very nice, normally, dasha to be in. And if you're interested in checking out your own dashas, you can go to Cosmic Squares, or you can just Google Dasha Calculator and see what dasha you're in. And this is going to represent basically the planetary energy that you're feeling. But there's only one little thing here. You can see that she, starting last July, is in a Saturn period. And Saturn can show when you lose things, when you're sad, when things don't really work out very well, when you kind of lose a little bit of popularity, perhaps. Not that she has, but there are things that just are kind of depressing. Or you want to do things and there are blocks. Something to note, and that's going to happen. She's going to be in a Venus-Saturn phase until September 2026. So that's going to be a tough time. It's a time when you have a lot of responsibility, maybe more responsibility, and we kind of know where that might be headed. Ooh, we shouldn't say that word around the king, but yes, between July 2023 and September 8th, 2026, Camilla is in for some major, major responsibilities and a lot of work. And a lot of times you don't even see that person working. They're kind of doing all of these things and these tasks when, it's kind of like underground. You don't really see them that much, even those people who are in the headlines. Okay, so we're going to do a simple reading for Camilla, and then I'm going to bring on Amber. We're going to do some cards. She did a pre-reading, and then I want to connect Camilla and Duchess Meghan. You are going to be amazed. And I just want to say hi to everybody. Christine, nice to see you. Yes, I mean, what would us little people have if we didn't have scandal? I love it. Is that disco? I know. Saturn period. Good one. And can I just say something about my Saturn mini dasha, which is going to end at the end of this month? I am seeing a lot of fruits of my efforts. When you really work hard and you're tired, it's also a time of being just so tired. But as you come out of it, you feel like you might have done something really good. In my case, it's my birthday month, and I can't believe I'm almost at 10,000 subscribers. It is shocking. And I'm getting a lot more at the very end of my Saturn dasha. This is the mini dasha that I'm in. I'm also in a Saturn dasha as well. So it's kind of like Saturn. Now, I also notice, just as a side note, that when retrogrades come in, I lose subscribers, especially right at Mercury retrograde. Like it's It's like suddenly everybody they've had it. And then as Mercury goes forward again, they all come back. So it's kind of like a boomerang kind of effect. Thank God. So very interesting. So for Camilla, she's probably maybe not able to talk to people that she wants to talk to, socialize the way she wants to socialize. Maybe there are things that there are doors closing for her that she has to shift responsibility. So that's a possibility. So thank you, Glow with the Flow. Yes. Oh, spill the tea. I brought my tea. There we go. Sponsored by some tea company. I think this is Twinings peppermint tonight. Okay, and the pinky up. All right, but this isn't a joke here. This is somebody who has had some ups and downs in life that have been devastating sometimes and embarrassing, yet she stole the heart of the most powerful man in a country. And so I'm going to show you a really quick way and simple way of reading somebody's birth chart. And let me just mark this up here. Now, if you want to read how somebody did when they were a little kid, under 5, you're going to look at Saturn. I'm sorry, you're going to look at Mercury. And I teach this in my class, by the way, and there's going to be another Astrology 101 class next Saturday, by the way. Mercury is here. This is when she was a little kid, and it was in the 12th house. Now, this can represent foreign lands. It can represent that you're kind of hidden. Retrograde sometimes also means somebody who doesn't really have a voice or who might have a different way of learning. The brain isn't exactly normal when you're young, and there might be alternative ways that you learn. Now, I noticed an opposition to a very evil person here. This could be somebody in her family. It's the 3rd house from the mother, which could be, people in the family. Let's just say that. I don't want to get too specific. And you can see that there's an opposition to her. Potentially somebody who does not really pay too much attention to her in the family, or might be kind of mean to her. Now, with let's see here. I'm going to just erase this. So this is her when she was a little kid, up till about 5 years old. And there is a nice trine to Jupiter here. So there could be opportunities to travel. She might be enjoying trips to long distance places. 9th house too also represents the father. So might have some kind of type of goodwill towards the father. Okay, so then we get to Jupiter. Jupiter is between around 6 and, I don't know, adolescent. It's kind of the adolescent. And this is going to be right here. This is where she was when, she was just growing up, starting to understand a little bit more. At Jupiter, you are in school. And this is in the 4th house. So it seems for the most part, she is coming out of her shell, because she's going from the 12th house, which can show that you are, kind of silent, like you're invisible. You feel invisible. But now that she's coming out to the 4th house, she might have a little bit more of a voice as she's getting a little bit older. So then we get to, and I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but normally I would spend a little bit more time on that. But then we skip ahead to Venus. This is when you become a woman. Now, around 17 to 19, you're sort of Jupiter Venus. You're kind of like, you're a little bit of both. And then you become Venus after 18. And so where is her Venus? It's right here in the 12th again. She becomes hidden. She can't really speak, but during these years, she becomes quite famous, which is the moon. So a famous woman who is a secret. So 12th house is a secret. So it's weird. It's like this person is famous. And a little backstory on Camilla. She was in love with Andrew Parker Bowles, her husband. He, however, well, he wasn't really the best partner. And there were a lot of, a lot of breakups. He was a climber. So this is her first husband. Jupiter's going to also represent your first husband. And you can see a square to what would represent the palace. Okay, so that's Leo right there. And so he would keep trying to get to the palace, but he couldn't. And one way was when they were broken up, he dated Prince Charles's sister Anne. But it didn't work out. And you can see that it didn't work out. You see, there's her husband squaring the palace. So you can kind of see that he's trying to shoot for the stars here and kind of putting her aside possibly. It kind of goes that way in some of the biographies that you read. Now, the difference between him and Camilla was that she chose, from what I understand, her husband, Andrew, over royalty, over Prince Charles. She chose Andrew Parker Bowles, even though he was looking elsewhere. So she really had eyes only for him. And also, the baggage that comes with Charles, that overbearing mother and all these rules. And I'm sure there was some kind of thought that life would be better if she chose Andrew Parker Bowles. And the way that they got married, from what I understand. Thanks, Christine. Oh, you can get a chart made. I'll show you how. And thanks, Empress Black Tarot. And I'm going to have Empress Black Tarot on next week. And exactly, please, no beheadings. But okay, so back, sometimes I like to check in to make sure my audio is working. But so you can see that, he's just not the best guy. And Jupiter in Scorpio can mean a man that has secrets. But all in all, because you can see that, there's a lot of planets. You can see that he knows what's going on in that secretive house. Oh, he knows. And it was almost as if he praised her as having that connection. She met Charles once she, I guess, saw that her soon-to-be husband was dating Anne when they were on a break, and that's how she met Charles. At least that's reported. So husband's climbing. She's kind of like going in those circles. She enjoys it. She loves the polo. She loves all of those Leo things because why? She's an ascendant in Leo. And that is really going to navigate her future. She is a born queen, really. Not to say that everybody who has an ascendant in Leo is going to be a queen. However, it does show that they will have some type of power, great, great power. Saturn in your chart is going to represent your responsibility in your life. For her, it was in Leo, which is to be queen. Now, one thing just to skip over, because we've got Venus here. We know she's in the 12th house. She's a secret. Okay. And let's see, this stellium, it kind of, yeah, you've got a T-square here pointed straight at her. This is such a good example of some people who needlessly worry about getting old because sometimes their existence as Venus, when that's activated, is a lot more terrible than when they actually get to Saturn, which is what would activate. As you turn around 50, you start representing Saturn. So you could see that she went from when she was younger, she was very much the villain. She was a bad person according to Diana supporters, And then Saturn is in Leo, and that's where she really learned and received her responsibility as queen. So this was all destined. And may I just say that to see in my mind her life through her eyes, she wanted this relationship with this man who was kind of like he was okay with it. Her parents sort of pushed him into marrying her. It was really kind of trying to push a boulder up a hill. It was not easy in order for her to get this man. And then imagine after all the trouble with trying to, I guess, create a happy home with her husband, it was almost like he was enjoying the access that she had during their marriage because she kind of had to turn away there. She wasn't getting her ego fulfilled through her husband. And imagine how not only does this future king have interest in her, but he has this absolutely beautiful wife and he chooses her instead of the beautiful wife. So you can imagine feeling as you get, as you grow up, you have that rejection. And psychologically, the one thing that makes you feel confident and good is this really good relationship with this guy who happens to be married. So that's my initial take on that. Yeah, we have to admit she's strong. Yes. Amy, you're laughing. Why are you laughing? It was difficult to be that Venus for her, even though she became famous and famous. Look at all of that Cancer. That usually represents somebody who experiences fame at some point in their life. And this is a lot. This is a lot. Notice the point of fortune here, which is to be successful. So this is very, very tough. And she was basically the most hated woman, I'm going to say, in the world for a good amount of time, at least a couple of decades. A very high price to pay for later, once she became Saturn, to become the queen. Now it's interesting too, Saturn in the first house can also show that someone looks older than they actually are because, which I think some people, when they see Camilla, they see that, maybe because she doesn't really necessarily pay too much attention to the Venusian types of things, the facelifts, the Botox. She doesn't do any of that. So the Saturn really kind of gives her this older, more mature, I should say more mature look. So Saturn in the first house. Sometimes that can show a person, it can show their voice. It can be a very throaty laughter, somebody who has a very low laugh. And so the good thing about her life is that she had some really good friends and she shared a friendship with her future husband, with Venus ruling the 11th house of friends. She would have, and you can see that there's a trine to Jupiter where she would remain friends with her first husband. And her second husband, you can also say represents Jupiter because it means a husband, and also represents the 9th house, which is the second husband. The first husband, really, you could say Jupiter and Aquarius, which represents a divorce or somebody who has a lot of unusual ideas for a marriage. So Jupiter would represent somebody like a secret husband, basically. Yet she would have that friendship with him, which is connected through this 11th house. There would be a secret 12th house friendship, Lord of the 11th in the 12th. It couldn't be any more complicated, but hopefully you're following me. Okay. And, of course, Princess Diana is in here. You can look at, I usually look at the seventh house, and then, you could look at the seventh house from the seventh as his wife, which could either be Camilla or her, and it would be a princess. The sun would be a princess. And unfortunately, his wife would die. Saturn is conjunct the sun. Saturn means death. So kind of like her identity has a lot to do with Princess Diana and Princess Diana's death. And I'm sure it's very hard to deal with that. Okay. So now, Taurus Moon Tarot, I am going to bring you in. I just don't see you in the green room. So maybe you're going to come in a second. All right. So yes, that would be Leo rising. Good catch, Christine. What did Christine? Oh, yeah. There you go. Interesting too about Leos. They're either smoking like crazy or they're in the gym. And it's like one or the other. They got to have that heat. It's either going to be body heat or that heat, next to them. They need to be hot. So good call, Christine. Oh, she played the long game. All right. She's very patient. Saturn in Leo is in the first house, is a patient person. Joy better stop smoking or stop going to the gym, one of the two. Don't hit the gym so hard. Blue Heron. She's definitely strong in the man-stealer department. Well, it's funny that you say that, and I'm glad you did, because you can see Jupiter here, and you can see this with a lot of other kind of examples, but in this case, it would be the husband. All right. Sometimes it means could be a mom, but when it's in Scorpio, it shows another person's husband, because Scorpio represents other people's. Jupiter in Scorpio. So she had another person's husband, and that was part of her identity, and that was what was supposed to be part of her identity. And so, like, say you have Moon, or you have, the Lord of the fourth house, which would be father. Sometimes it can show like a stepfather, or it can show like an adoption, or, somebody else's mom that you're living with, or something like that. But in this case, it would be another person's husband. All right. So now I'm going to take this down for just a second and welcome Amber. Hi, Amber. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
It looks so sunny over there. It's dark in this castle over here.
Yeah, it's finally sunny in Southern California.
That's nice. California girl.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're excited to see what the cards are going to say tonight. And you were telling me, first of all, if you feel like it, can you show us all of your cards that you have? Like, I love that. You showed me. I'm like, oh my God.
There's a few on display, and a few that are high toy. There's a few that are in storage in a trunk that I have. But yes, I will show you what I have.
All right, let's
readily available to me.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it. And how do you decide which one you're going to pick?
Intuition. My intuition will tell me. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Yes. In fact, I have a Camilla deck now.
You do not.
In prep for today. I did. It's not a deck that I use very often, but I'll show you the back of it. And it just screamed her to me. Is it a little bit bright?
Oh, they're pretty. Are they blue?
They're white.
Oh, they're white. Okay.
Yes. They're just this beautiful white. And it reminded me of her. She always seems to be wearing pearl essence, soft colors, or very bright Leo colors. It's like very dramatic either way. But yeah, so.
Now you were saying that you had done a deck, and I hadn't mentioned it at all. I didn't say, can you, I didn't request it or anything, but you took it upon yourself to kind of do a pre-reading. Yeah. First of all, for anybody who's coming on here, doesn't really know about tarot or astrology, why would somebody do a pre-reading?
I do it so that I sort of get into the energy of the topic, the person, the person that I'm reading. Sort of just allow my intuition to flow and just get open and prepare. I think anything needs good preparation. That's the
okay. Well, what are, and I'm gonna take myself out of here for a second. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about the pre-reading just for like a minute or so, and what you found.
So what I did, I actually did two things. I just wanted to tap into Camilla specifically, and I always look for repeat cards. I use multiple decks. I sort of see what comes up naturally over and over. And repeatedly, I saw the Four of Swords. So I'll be curious to see the rest of the chart readings with you. If a couple of things that came to my mind was the month of October and a pullback or a respite, some kind of break, and specifically for the month of October. But then what I did was I pulled a card for each member. I pulled two specifically for Camilla, one for King Charles, and one for each of the boys. And, you know, tarot always blows my mind, even though I do believe that, you know, things are on point. But the very first card that came for Camilla was this Power card. And you literally just used that word. And I was looking at the card going, oh my gosh, here we are, power. And I don't love that this card looks like Maleficent.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Well, what's really fascinating is the second card that came with it is the Queen of Cups in the Camilla deck that I've so designated, which is Cancer, and she's the Cancer sun. So Queen of Cups and power, which I just thought was crazy.
That's
and then for King Charles, this was the card that came for him, the Eight of Cups, which is really just walking away. And I look at everything in context to one another and the rest of the family. And William, these are all different decks, one deck for each member of the family. The Magician, the Alchemist, which is just power in all facets and, you know, all things firing. And Harry was even more interesting. Two cards came out just by chance. And we had the Nine of Wands, which is literally a wounded warrior, just perseverance, trudging through the mud, you know, battle worn and exhausted. But this tied to something else in the earlier reading. With the second card that came out was the Queen of Cups from a different deck, which is the same card I got for Camilla. And one of the other things that I did previous to pulling for each family member, I'll be curious to see the charts, but I saw something in the mini reading that I did that talked about Camilla really being important with Harry's return in any way, that she is some support to him or will be down the road. So I'm curious to see what it shows perhaps with her and Harry.
That is amazing. And I recognize some cards that I got as well. It's almost like Harry supports wounded warriors, but it's almost like he's one himself.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. I don't know if anybody saw that he won another court case. Remember last show, we were talking about how he's going to have such success in the courts. And at that point, he had only won one of the court cases. So he's flying high, no pun intended, because of that kite that's in his chart. And so he's doing well. And somebody also wrote in and gave a comment on that show. I think that a lot of astrologers are saying he's going to have some kind of nervous breakdown, and they didn't understand why I had such positive things for him. But there is a lot of positive things happening for Prince Harry. And so sometimes it's kind of half and half. So you really have to focus on what's going well. Yeah. And a lot more comments on Prince Harry in this presentation. So Natalie, I'm seeing your comment, and you know, I hope Camilla I hope she does well. I hope that she really she's going towards her destiny, and she's doing exactly what she was supposed to do when she came down here to Earth. So now I'm going to add this chart. And I'm going to go to the next one. And this is Meghan Markle's chart. And how about the fact that there's a lot of planets here in Leo, just like Camilla's? So the way that I connect them is, first of all, that currently Meghan has an opposition with the monarchy, which is Pluto. And that's going to be there like till 2030 or something. Mercury is an opposition, basically saying she can't speak. They don't want her identity to be, they meaning the palace, the monarchy, represented by a transit Pluto. They want her to stay quiet. They don't want her having her identity. And so it's a real tense type of opposition that's happening in her transit chart. And you look at Camilla's chart and look, you've got that same opposition here. Pluto, and it's opposing her identity. So I really think that Camilla is not able to really communicate the way she wants to, although as per your card, she will see a rise in power, but yet there's still a very tense time with the palace right now. There's a lot of changes. Pluto is now in Aquarius, Pluto representing the monarchy in Aquarius, lots of ups and downs, lots of breaks and divorces and change. Okay. So here is her solar return chart, and it looks pretty wild. It started in July, and she was born July 17th. So every one of her houses, just like for you, if you were born whatever day it was, that's when that house would start. And so we've got, we can count through the months. And where are we right now? Well, in January, you could see something. Jupiter represents the husband, was going to come up. And it was going to be something that was kind of shocking. So Uranus would be, the shocking, basically change. Uranus is a change in husband's, the kingdom, the career as king. It was going to be cut in January. So that would have been from January 17th to February 17th. So we're still in this house right now for her. Okay. So then we get to February 17th. And this is a really important month. Any month that you have the vertex in, you are going to have some kind of, basically that's the point of the chart. So she might be feeling more of a need to speak, which is the vertex would be in the 8th house of Gemini. Now, this could also be 8th house is inheritance documents. And that would be Gemini would be documents. So looking at paperwork, seeing, that would be the point of her year, is basically taking care of documents, I guess. So those are the next 2 months that I have for her with the solar return chart. We've got quite a bit of drama starting March. It would be April 17th. There's going to be a big fight, it looks like. There's Mars here, and this is a lot of anger. And it's sudden too, because you can see that square with Neptune. Now, what I don't like, I never like Mars square Uranus, because that is quite an upset. And sometimes it can mean, and not just, I wouldn't say like personally necessarily, but it can show a fight breaking out that might have something to do with a weapon. So I was wondering if you might be able to maybe draw a card for us and give us an idea about what is happening. I'm going to say January, February, March, April 17th to May 17th. It looks weird because we've got Black Moon Lilith in here. And this is like, This is somebody, this could be another princess. Could be her. It could be her. She really is Pluto this year. I circled it. That's her. And you could see she's in this T-square this year. It's like she's blocked in every which way. So who is this person up here next to Black Moon Lilith? This is a shady princess, and she is angry, and she's having to deal with her in the 10th house. And that would be between April 17th and May 17th. So sorry, that was a long lead in.
Okay.
Yes, boy.
I would say it's a child, someone to her. It's someone younger. The 6 of Cups is what popped out. So it's not someone unfamiliar to her. And they're likely not a contemporary. They're probably younger. And that represents children.
Interesting.
7 of Wands.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, here it is again. Didn't I say this came out so many times?
That is so, wait, hold on one second.
Sorry, these are very shiny cards, the 4 of Swords. So all totaled, whatever the argument might be with a child, it could be related to the child is a burden in some way.
Okay. The child is a burden. Okay, so let's, yep.
Yeah. And then the 7 of Wands, which is sort of someone standing, king of the hill kind of attitude. It's a battle over like posturing for power or control.
Would it be Princess Kate, I wonder? Princess Kate seems a little busy right now.
It's Will.
It's Will. Oh my God. Okay. All right. So Will is moving into position. But here's the thing. There's something that is shocking that's happening. And let's see. Let me go back to this for a second. And sometimes what we can do is we can try to figure out who this is. So Mars, we would go to the 6th house of could be a hidden enemy to King Charles, but that's like work related. So it can be a quote unquote coworker, which could really be anybody in the palace, including William. And then we could look at Venus. That's pretty amazing that Venus is right on Regulus, showing some kind of a royal person. And that's in the 12th house of hidden enemies. So this is a very, very sneaky hidden enemy. And something is happening where something very shocking is happening to it's not perfect. It's not exact. They're getting some of the effects of the shock from Charles, but it looks more like this person is getting something, getting responsibilities. You can see North Node. You're right. I think it's Will.
The Pisces card, you said hidden enemies. Pisces card, the moon in reverse, is that it's like a hidden enemy being revealed in reverse.
Wow. So it's hard to think of William being a hidden enemy, but it's always based on somebody's lens, who they think is on their side or not.
Yeah.
So a battle for power. And I think a lot of people, most people aren't expecting Camilla, if things turn the way that a lot of people think, where Charles has to step down. Most people would assume that it would be William right away, because in the past, in history, the wife of the king usually steps aside, becomes the queen mother and such. So has she done a chart on Kate? Been wondering what's happening with her. Yes, you can look at my Princess Catherine. That's actually gotten an amazing number of views, almost 9,000 views. So check that out. Toy says she could be helping him get what the king wants to take place, and Kate is ready to stand by her man and help him no matter what. Princess Catherine, the future queen. So let me just take a look at this one more time, and then I'm going to toss it to you. Amber. And so this is going to be February, March 17th, April 17th. So between April 17th and May 17th, what is ruling that month is the sun, and it's in the 9th house. So this is going to be a shock of some sort, and it'll definitely be in the news because of the 9th house being in publications. And there's a big square with her, Camilla, and the 9th house here. It looks like they don't want any information coming out. So I'm not sure what that is, but definitely the press is involved. Now, I also want to go back on what I was saying. This Black Moon Lilith, there is a square here to Uranus. So that could be a person too. This could be somebody that is in the wings of this woman. Because remember, planets, I almost said Pluto, planets can mean people. So this could be a separate person altogether, a courtier who quits. So possibly maybe William's right-hand person, or maybe somebody in the inner circle says, I got to get going. I'm not sticking around for this. So what do you think about that? Oh, shoot.
See the chart. Yeah.
Oh no. I did it again. All right. This is Black Moon Lilith. You can see that. And it squares Uranus. So you can see how this person might be quitting between March and April. So I don't know if we could get any information on maybe somebody in the royal circle. It's Uranus. I mean, Uranus, a square at Uranus sometimes is not just quitting. Sometimes it's a little bit more serious, but we'll say it's quitting. Okay.
That came out again. I would say I have the 2 of Wands in reverse, the 6 of Wands, which is about recognition, promotion, up-leveled. This is about a stalemate, a stagnation, a delay. So if someone maybe isn't feeling like they're, getting what they think they deserve and the recognition, it's a lot of ego. That's a lot of ego. But it is a female. It's Queen of Swords in reverse. And she's kind of nasty when she's in reverse. She's not very nice. Okay. I don't know the relationship with the Duchess, Kate. I don't know the two, but I feel like Camilla, based on the earlier reading, is a little bit more Harry leaning support, and that might not be well received. And maybe Kate is not happy about that support.
And I have a theory about that. And I think it is a common denominator of both of them hating the press. And I've got some charts about that. And Mama Tracy says, sounds like Meghan to me. Could this just be somebody who has been waiting their whole life and they are on the payroll? It doesn't have anything to do with the top person. Could it just be someone that just quits that is really vital to them? But at the same time, it's a good thing. Now, when I see, and I'm going to add this. Okay, you can see this. Whenever you see Black Moon Lilith in your chart, and it squares Uranus, that can be a good thing because Black Moon Lilith, as you know, is a shady person that basically blows up and wants to get the heck out of there. And so when you see that, it's like, oh, this looks pretty good. This looks like, you're free and clear after this person finally gets out of there. So that's a possibility. However, that Black Moon Lilith can also kind of color these other people, that they're a little bit shady too. So it certainly looks like she's dealing with some shady energy. And these people are also dealing with the ups and downs, possibly. Okay. So now I am going to look. Now, this is really, by the way, I'm getting a little background noise from you. It's like I don't know, it's like a little squeak or something. But let's see. I am looking at her solar return chart 2024 to 2025. And this starts, let's see, this one is going to start in July. Okay, this isn't that far away. This is in the summertime. And it can be a sad time when your solar return chart begins at the ascendant of Capricorn. This is responsibility. This is, things that make you sad. And her ascendant, it looks like, is retrograde in the second house. Now, this shows that she is weak this year, starting in July and going to the next July, and particularly in August. August is a very, it can also be emotional with Neptune there. Neptune it can be weather, it can be tears, it can be emotions. And I think that's going to start probably after August 17th. So August 17th to September 17th is a very, very difficult month for her. Could mean just more responsibilities, or with Saturn being responsibility, it can show next to Neptune, responsibilities disappear. She thought she had the responsibility, but then now I thought I was supposed to do this. I thought I was supposed to do that. No, it's okay. We'll take care of it. Thank you, though. And so that's potentially what could happen. Now, what could happen that is very positive for her on the opposite side is you can see a nice grand trine here. And you have, this is King Charles, the moon this year. And so they are together. She's getting her ego fulfilled. The sun, you always want the sun to be in a good place in your solar return because it shows you're getting a little vitality. And again, it looks like there's something where he is depending on her for something, and she feels good about that. She feels good that she can help. So it's kind of like a double-edged, maybe not a double-edged sword, but at least a one part of it looks to be very sad for her in that time frame. Okay, and overall, and then I'm going to toss it to you because I'm interested in this fourth house here, and that concerns me a little bit. But let me just talk about the third house, which will be September. September is another month where you can see for Camilla that there is a T-square here. She is trying to get some kind of success here. It could be just through communications. What's that?
I had two cards sort of prepared as you were talking. I was pulling it and you kind of walked right into this, but Knight of Swords in reverse, which is information that's not great, not good news. And then I got the Scorpio card of death. I suspect there's health news. Oh, the Emperor in reverse, right underneath of it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're talking,
maybe some additional news.
Yes. Okay. And Join Jen says Charles and Diana were a bad match, different interests and personalities. Charles was like 30 going on 50 and too old for Diana. Yes. I think Charles always wanted to marry Camilla. Then she married the other guy because Queen Liz was against Camilla. Yeah. She didn't want to deal with all of the, all of the drama. But just to reiterate, the third house, this is really, really strong. Chiron is right on the 3rd house. So something is very painful when it comes to communications, maybe 3rd house matters. And this is going to be September 17th to October 17th. Then here's what I was going to ask you about. This is the fall, and it looks like something is pretty shocking that's happened. Uranus is again, part of this chart, like it was the last year's chart, the chart that we're currently in. And Uranus is exactly on Mars. This can be somebody who's trying to break into the palace or something. Like this looks like a lot of drama with Uranus and Mars. And it's all I can really get, except check this out. I mean, this is really strong. This Uranus and oh, sorry. Yell at me. So Uranus is, look at this right here. Uranus, Mars can show something that is an upset. This is something that could be a break-in. Uranus is break-in. Mars is more upset. And so you would go July, August, September, October to November. So this would be between October and November. Something very, very shocking is happening in the palace, and that's Pluto right in the 1st house. So I'm not sure what that is. Is that anything that we need to be concerned about?
I mean, I just pulled 4 cards, and the bottom of the deck always sort of gives me some context. The King of Swords. So there's King. And you're exactly right. I think it's actually what I just said. There's bad news. There's more bad information, bad news. Knight of Swords this time in the upright, which before it was in the reverse. This is quick information, maybe not great information, or angry information, sort of forceful. 2 of Swords in reverse, which is Libra, October timeframe, which I mentioned earlier. And the Ace of Swords in reverse, which is again, sort of, maybe it's going to be information that is inaccurate. There might be something that comes out and it's like, well, wait, reverse, that's not really true. Like it comes through so quickly, or it's released or leaked or something like that. It could be leaked information about the king, but it's not great. It's not good news.
Well, Uranus with such tough aspects,
a lot of information. Yeah.
Sometimes it represents a suicide or somebody with a weapon. And so that's the thing that I worry about. I'm hoping.
Part of Aquarius.
What does that mean?
Well, Aquarius can represent
so it's and what is on Aquarius, or is it just an Aquarius card?
It's the King of Swords.
Oh my God. And we're getting a lot of swords, which means weapons.
And the Ace of Swords is also here. Yeah, in reverse.
So, obviously we don't want to upset a person when we say something like this, when we're reading a solar return chart. But what it does is just kind of get them focusing on a certain month and saying, take precaution. Is Uranus crowds of people? Absolutely. 11th house can be the community. So I think there could be some kind of, I don't know, there's an upset that's coming. So chilly willies. Yeah, I know. That's what Willie's going to get, is some chilly willies. Now, let's see. Anything else you want to add before I keep going?
No, keep going.
Okay, I'm going to add the time. And now some of you have seen me experiment with a decade chart. And this is so interesting. You can put in your birthday, except for the year you put in the year of the decade that starts. And you can, if you don't know your birth time, you can still put in midnight. It works almost as well. But in this case, I'm doing the decade chart for Camilla. Now, you'll notice that one of the big red flags that we get in charts is when we see something fall like this, it's like a big upset. And this would be, you would count around, you would start in 1980, the beginning of the decade, and then count all the way around. And you would see that there would be pain here. And this was Camilla Gate. This is when there were Uranus is a high-tech device, Scorpio, a secretive high-tech device. And it brought her down. Basically, she was outed as the official mistress of King Charles in 1989. No, I'm sorry, she was actually outed in 1992 or 3, but it was actually recorded in 1989. So this would be a downfall for her and very, very hurtful and embarrassing. So that's the one thing I see is with the decade chart. And you can also see that what would rule the whole decade, and by the way, you would stop at 1989 and you would start the next chart at 1990, and that would be the ascendant. But you can see, I mean, you could probably still do 90 and 91. I haven't tested that. But Mercury is retrograde for her whole decade. And you can see there's a square in the 3rd house. And there would be eavesdropping, secret, 12th house, eavesdropping, and Pluto would be sex, and it would be Libra's the relationship. So it would be the secrets of this monarchy relationship that would come out with, of course, Black Moon Lilith in there, these sexual type of communication. So that would be something pretty big for her decade chart. And then this is 1990. This is another decade chart where you can see some of the things that happened. What is also really interesting, on this one, notice how every house of hers starts on the 17th because that's her birthday, right? Well, Camilla Gate, that was the 17th. Of that, the 17th was when that next house would be activated. So kind of crazy about the timing there. And so just real quickly, 1990 started her first house, and 1992 is when Charles would divorce. I think Camilla waited a little while to divorce her husband, just so that it didn't look obvious. And that was the 5th house. So this is Camilla's chart. And here you go. You see Uranus shows that that's when she got a divorce. Then we get into 95, 96. 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. Okay, and then 97, of course, it's the 8th house, right? That's Diana. That would be the 17th. No, that would still start on. This is the whole year, okay? So you would look at the ruler of that year, which would be Jupiter, 22 degrees. Kill or be killed. And Neptune, she has Neptune in the 5th house. So this would be a house that was representative of scandal, and a big scandal with that sextile to Pluto. I'm sorry to say, but Pluto is always the monarchy. And it just seems as if they know what's happening here. They see the secret. It's like a shocking scandal. But anyway, the monarchy's involved. Let's just say that we could connect it to that. And of course, whether it was a scandal or not, they're going to be involved because they were brought into it after the accident. But still, it's Uranus also represents mystery. And so you can see Neptune represents mystery. Uranus represents accident. So a mysterious accident would represent her eighth house year, which would be 97. Okay, I hope I got that right. And all right, so before we get into this is I always get questions about the love child, potential love child, alleged love child. Let me just remove this real quick. And anything about the secret love child between Charles and Camilla? He's trying to get a DNA test from them to prove it. Oh, that's right. There is that guy out there who's saying that. I guess I would have to go. And as I'm doing this, feel free to chime in.
That just always makes me chuckle. My late father started a book where he was writing a historical fiction about a young American moving to England and meeting Diana when she was very young. And there was this question of whether or not Prince William was truly of the royal blood or of this American affair when she was quite young. Anyway, this story always.
How funny.
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
That is, so you were tied into this story at an early age, huh?
I was at Buckingham Palace for their wedding.
You what?
Charles and Diana. Yeah. I was in the streets, in the crowd.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes.
You grew up in London. I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Yes.
Give us some memory that you have.
I mean, I do remember where I was when I learned that she passed away. That was devastating. I was in a restaurant and I was in the US at that point, and no one with me could really understand the connection having grown up there. But yeah, I do remember the photos from being in the crowd at the wedding, like the family photos that we have. I was very young. I was 5 or 6.
Yeah, but I was around that age too. And it was like our little princess. Like we couldn't believe it was a princess, and it was just amazing. It was just a real symbol of, the fall of the princess. And so that's amazing. It must have been there. I've always been so in awe of how they can have so many crowds and they keep things under control, it seems.
Yes. Everyone is on their best behavior.
Yes. They're dressed in their Sunday best. Then there's Archie and Lilibet, the invisible children. Exactly. Oh, we're going to get to that next week. And so if there was a secret love child, the guy is in Australia. That's right. I forgot about that. And he says, I think he ran them, or they ran him out of the country or something like that. Look, the 5th house represents kids, and Pluto, you see the 5th house, and then you can see Pluto in the 1st house, which is, and in Leo, Pluto in Leo sometimes can mean a secret family, but it would be hard to believe. It's hard for me to believe.
Yeah.
Should we draw a card?
I did.
You did? What does it say? We need to know.
Well, this imagery is a little telling, but it's and twice and I see the Page of Wands when I asked if it was a man or a woman, but the pages are usually young boys and very young children. In addition, the 9 of Swords with the 5 of Wands, which is competition, stress.
And she's sad that she had to give something up, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think?
2 of Pentacles in reverse. That's letting something drop. Too much to carry. It's like something's got to give. Something has to give. That's my take on that with the rest of this. Yeah. When I saw the Empress with this card is the only one that depicts her as extremely pregnant.
That
This is
is
yeah. I mean,
unbelievable.
the other decks you really can't tell, but she's with the world.
God. And can we just talk about the fact that, remember, if you ever want to know about Scorpio, which represents in our charts and cards, it represents the monarchy, but what does it also represent? It represents secrets. It represents pregnancies. So everybody's always talking about who's getting pregnant and all of that, but sometimes there are secret pregnancies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Royal Vision, it came on. The one who wants DNA is a secret child of Charles and Camilla, supposed to give up for adoption. I saw somewhere in the news. Yes. Yeah. It's been a while since I saw that, but I did. Thank you for that. And I'm a little taken aback. Okay. So what else? Do you want to do one more thing before the chart, or what
If
are you
someone
thinking?
has a question, I'd love it.
Okay. Yes. Yes, you guys, if you have any questions, I know, Christine, it's chilling and shocking. Will we ever know about the alleged secret child? What a sad thing. Like, if they were in love and she had the baby and then they couldn't be a family, that would be terrible.
Like, will the truth ever be known? I guess is our question.
Say that again?
Is that the question? Will the truth about that be known?
Oh, yes. Can you give us the answer to that?
I would say yes. The truth will be known one way or the other. Doesn't mean that it's true. Ooh. But 9 of Cups, Page of Cups, both are very positive. And if it's a yes, no, that certainly indicates to me that we will know one way or the other.
Crazy. That is crazy. Now, this is kind of a crazy question I didn't even think about, but is William a child of Charles? I mean, of course he must be.
According to my father's book, no. No. Well, that's the book he wrote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a psychic. I don't know. It's too much for me to process.
Too much. Yeah.
Serendipity is asking, does Camilla have a serious illness? She appears to have a tremor like Parkinson's. Critical care nurse. Ooh. Retired. Oh, thank you, Serendipity. Okay.
Get my Camilla deck. My now
good one.
Designated Camilla deck. I would say she is battling something hereditary, but I think it's an overcomable thing. I don't think it's a long-term, like Parkinsonian or anything like that. She might be struggling with something, but it's maybe something genetic, but not long-term or taking her down in any way. That's what I would say.
Okay. Good to know. Oh, Serendipity. She says her hubby and she both have Taurus moons. Osteoporosis, I hope not, because I think there's somebody whose mother died of osteoporosis. I'm trying to think. It was her mom. Her mom died of osteoporosis. I didn't know that you could.
Interesting.
From that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or essential tremor. That's a good point, because that's my mom. That's just chronic and yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Christine, thank you. Now, all right. Now what I'm going to do is I wanted to look at Elizabeth. This is the Michael Fagan break-in. Remember this one where it was the first break-in in the 800-year history of Windsor Castle. And just started out with this guy. He's like, I bet you. And he's at the pub. And he's like, oh, I bet you I can get in there. And his friends were like, no, you can't get in there. I mean, there's no way you can break into the castle, man. And that's what he did. And the guards thought that the alarms were faulty. They turned them off. And the next thing you know, he's going through Queen Elizabeth's window. So crazy thing that happened in 1982. It's thanks, Glow with the Flow. I'm sure. Well, it actually helped Elizabeth's. Not that she needed it, but her reputation was very strong. She ended up just talking to him and visiting with him, making him feel good, and then he was whisked away. Yes, we have heard about the Nostradamus prophecy. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it these days, that there's going to be a twist in basically the kingdom. Yes, the queen talked to him. And okay, so let me look at this real quick. So this is the queen. This is her decade chart. Okay, this started in 1980. This is when it started. And this was 81 and then 82. And of course, the houses that start with Pisces is always like some scandal. You can't really see that. And now the Lord of the third house is Neptune at 22 degrees. This is like a danger, and it's right around her. It's her window. And so something would happen with the window. And then you can also see, looks like Mercury. I want to say that he was in there to take something. Mercury often represents the thief. So, and he was also armed. So Aries, there was somebody in there who was armed. And that decade, the whole decade in the 80s, her ruling planet, the chart ruler, was retrograde. So it was a very, very tough decade for her. And so she's up there, but she made it work. You can see this really positive blue trine, this grand trine here. And that's good for her. She's able to connect with this dangerous person. 22 is a dangerous person. Probably drunk because he was in that pub. So this is a drunk person. And what kind of drink do they have over there? Some kind of that beer gives you courage, I guess. But it ended up working in her favor. Now, all I know is Yorkshire Gold, and that's a tea. Oh, they drink cognac and other things. French wine. All right, so that's all I really have for her. But one thing I did want to say is, we were talking about Camilla Gate and how in the 80s, this really was a big event for her, and that was the press. I mean, she was probably the top victim of the press. Of course, so was King Charles when they were eavesdropping. And so it is kind of ironic how the sun is going in and fighting and winning against these terrible press representatives, and yet there's still that friction there. They, obviously the way he did it was not approving. But I think you mentioned something that was like, maybe there's like a soft spot that Camilla has when it comes to Harry. So it's almost like he's fighting those evil people that were against her for decades.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you have a soft spot for him?
Yeah. I feel like if there's a way back in for him, it could be because of her doing, or her being the conduit to bring it to some peace.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely his destiny to fight.
Like encouraging that. Yeah.
And thank you. Yes, he was drinking a bit of the Guinness. And Val Evans, tell she haunts the bed. And we're talking about Elizabeth. So Queen Elizabeth, do you want to take that one?
Sure.
I guess I could look at the chart too, since but I'll look after I see one of your cards.
I'm going to bring a different deck for the Queen because I didn't have one designated, but I do love this deck. I'll show you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. It has a very nice quality to it that I like for the queen. For the queen.
Mm-hmm.
That's a castle right there.
Whoa.
The Tower. Tower of London. Maybe
Tower.
she's roaming the halls of the Tower of London with her ancestors. Oh my gosh. They're building a cathedral. It just made me laugh. Let's see. Will she haunt it? Is she haunting it?
What a great deck for this question.
Yeah. It's got this very antique quality to it, which I love. Ooh, that jumped out. I'd say that's a yes with this question. I would say that's a yes to that question. She's there.
Oh.
She's there.
Oh my God. She is there and she
She's
is
there.
watching.
Yeah. Watching the castle. Yeah.
That's nuts. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I guess, oh, here's one question I had. And sorry. Cav says Camilla always looks fabulous. She does. She has class, that woman. And I think because I saw that their charts, Meghan Markle and Camilla's charts, are so similar, the transits, where they're both battling, it seems, the monarchy, and to be able to speak and have a voice. It's interesting how Camilla is so used to being the bad guy, the villain, and maybe secretly she understands what Meghan is going through. And I wonder if there is a possibility down the road, once the dust settles, could they become allies?
Allies.
So what do you think? Should we draw a card?
Let's use our Camilla deck for that. Let's see. I could see that just based on what I saw with her in regards to Harry and her sort of wanting to keep that peace or bridge that that gap with Charles. Let's see how it is with Meghan. See if she will be. Maybe say the question one more time.
Yes. Will Camilla and Meghan in the long term become allies? Because they do have similar challenges and similar charts.
Yes. I would say yes. Yes.
Wow.
That's a big yes card. The sun. You can see that a little better.
That's amazing.
And the 9 of Cups. Both are big yes cards.
Wow. Hold on, Meghan.
I would say what jumps to my intuition is that children might be the reason that allyship comes together. Grandchildren, that might be the thing that sort of connects it initially. But
it's such a weird situation where you've got a child with Diana's, or children with Diana's DNA, and their grandmother, what's that?
Step grandmother?
Yeah, the step grandmother was the mistress. And it's so twisted. Like only the monarchy could think up this stuff. This kind of, yes. Thank you, Cav. Yes, she is. And let's see. Oh, okay. How about, do you have time for another question or two?
Sure.
Okay. Well, is Camilla leaking info?
To
is she
the press?
Something? Yes. Let's ask that. I don't think she
Did
would.
I say something earlier about leaked information?
You did. What was that? Now I've got to watch the whole thing all over again.
But it had to do with the king, I thought, in the fall. But I don't think that would be her doing that. That's not, I got not anything. She
could be kicked out. So, it would be poor poor form to do that. But
Yeah.
sometimes, they do have those, I mean, the palace themselves, they have these press contacts, as we saw in the Meghan and Harry documentary.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they mean. They already have a channel to leak things. Will she be leaking something? I think the answer is really yes, but what would she be leaking?
So I got 2 cards for that question. One is another card that honestly has come out for her, which is the Queen of Wands. She's a Leo rising. This represents the other woman in a lot of ways. And then the High Priestess in reverse, very silent. The High Priestess is pretty much mum's the word. But maybe in reverse, there is a flip of the tongue, something unintentional. I don't think it's intentional.
Okay.
I don't think it's with malicious. Maybe it's, through an interview or, agreeing to make a book and then that gets leaked. It's sort of indirect. I would say indirectly, maybe.
Okay. Here's one.
Not in a nefarious way.
Not in a nefarious way. But sometimes you have to protect yourself. Sometimes you have to leak things that say, hey, guys, what you just said, not true. So let's focus on my book club next week. That's what she's leaking. But I don't think she has that book club anymore, which is sad because I heard it was really good. Now, do you think William and Harry will ever make up? Now, which deck would you use for this one?
I think I'll actually use this, the Light Seers. This is typically what I use for anyone under a certain age. I know that sounds terrible.
I know, that's why I use it.
That's a very youthful deck to me.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen you, and I love that you have that. It's a beautiful.
I like the diversity of it too.
Yeah,
it's nice,
Okay, let's see. Will these brothers, outside of being princes, they're brothers. So sad. It's sad to see.
It is.
Will they make up? Oh gosh, I don't like this. I don't want to say it. You see the cards that come out based on the questions that have been asked, and this is a very different answer. The Emperor in reverse tells me it's a control problem. It's a battle of control. The Three of Swords, which is a heartbreak, a breakup, a complete disconnect. Page of Cups in reverse, no apology. It's a stalemate. It's a standoff. You say sorry, no, I say sorry, no, you say sorry. It's in reverse. And then the Seven of Swords also in reverse. So it's like, unless someone can sort of be the bigger person, I don't see it anytime soon. I think that they are both very, very stubborn.
Totally agree. And reflective of the charts, because it looks like a long war, a very, very long war.
Yep.
So what a shame. What a shame. Yeah. And a reflection of the energy that they were born into, which was, the Cold War, the long war with their parents. And so now they have to somehow live through that same energy. So now everybody is they're all a Twitter about who's really whose son and if they are Charles's son. But I tend to think that they're both his sons. I can tell by the eyes.
Yeah.
And Will does look a lot more like Diana. Yeah. But he really looks like Diana.
He really does.
But based on their birth charts, it sure does look like he is their father. So what do you do? I mean, you don't have to draw a card on this, but in general, like, what are your thoughts?
I do think that they both are. I mean, I have 2 children, and then, for 15 years, I look like their babysitter. They didn't look anything like me for, until they were older. Now there's a little resemblance, but
yeah. Exactly. Okay.
I
That's
think
what I
that they
thought.
are.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought. Okay. And let's see if I can see something else here. Oh, okay. One thing I wanted to show in the chart. This is Camilla's transit chart right now. And these outer planets are the transit planets. These transits are on your birth chart and my birth chart and everybody else's birth chart in the same way. They look the same. It's just that they're hitting hers differently because her birth chart is different. And so Uranus is really high up in her chart. It's in the 10th house. Okay. And look how there's a direct opposition to husband, which is Jupiter. So it looks as if husband shock, which is Uranus, shock or change, and then the fall of the husband. So this is really like within a degree or two, it is very, very, very strong. And something, that feeling of the shock, and also with Scorpio, that's the monarch, the monarch shock. And so very, very difficult. And it goes down into her 4th house of home. So this is going to affect her. This is going to affect, where she might live and how she might live out the rest of her years. Very difficult there. And then also you can see her husband, Jupiter, and it is in, let's see, it is squaring. This is pretty fast. Thankfully, moon and sun are kind of like they're moving on. However, the moon was new in Aquarius. So that energy is this is just the beginning of this square. Okay, so as the moon gets bigger and bigger and fuller, we might even see more information coming out. So very tough for Camilla. And, we just pray that she doesn't suffer as much as it seems like she is right now. And she's getting some, as people who have these types of charts, all of us do, not so much as the most powerful people on the face of the earth, like Camilla, but you have to learn, what to expect and basically, how to live with it, how to lean into other areas that might be positive. It does look like there are some things that are helping her. And, you look to your sun. The sun represents, your confidence, your vitality. And there is a sextile to the 11th house, which is her friendships, her community, giving back. And that's really helping her right now, it looks like. So that's one thing. And so interesting how she has that Leo in her 1st house. That's her identity to be queen. And we'll have to look at what the birth chart is for Queen Lilibet and see how close it is to Camilla. So
I have to say, Val, it made me laugh. The very first slide that you shared with Camilla, the very first chart, I thought, did we all coordinate? We're literally wearing the same thing as Camilla in that photo.
Wow. I love how observant. Oh my God.
But as I was looking at it.
Oh my God, look at that.
Isn't that funny?
That is, well, we're all queens. That's what we are.
The blazer. Yeah.
Okay, Christina would like you to pull a card on Princess Catherine recovery. And if we could also, a lot of people are talking about how, maybe there are bulimia rumors. Anything you can get from that?
Let's see. Catherine. My intuition says that it is not an eating disorder. I will say that. Okay, but I'm not going to cloud my cards. That's just my own instinct. I don't know why I think it's too obvious or something. I don't know. But I know that she struggled during all of her pregnancies with that severe morning sickness. It's a disorder. I mean, it's medically diagnosed, right? So that was pretty severe. So let's see what it could be. What is the condition of her recovery? Let's see. I would say it is not going to be a fast recovery. So I know that they've put it out in the media that April would be her return to public view. I would say that's not true. Or I would say there's a setback. It's like she's out and then she's retreated back, like too soon released to normal duties. And then there's sort of this setback. I wouldn't be surprised if she is maybe in hospital again. Not anything devastating, but like a setback in her recovery because she's sort of doing too much too quickly.
Wow.
Let's see if it's, I don't think it's to do with there's nothing Taurian in here. Taurus, I would think of like, those kinds of things. It's nothing indicated in that at all. Okay. But I think there's a setback in her recovery where she might end up back in hospital. Yep.
Okay, Sarah's saying William has Mars in transit in his 12th house, and it looks like there could be a fight on December 28th. Yeah. Well, you know what? If you're married, you're going to fight. That's for sure. But I really feel like there is some kind of energy, that Diana energy. She's wearing the ring. She's having the same probably palace types of scenarios. I do feel like there could potentially be something wrong there. She's just too skinny. So I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I haven't really thought about it too much, but it is something that's in the back of my mind. Every time I see a picture of her, I think, and then it happens right after every time she's pregnant, she gets skinny pretty quickly. And so I'm always remarking to myself, wow, how did she do that? So
I wouldn't be surprised if it was something with her reproductive organs. I wouldn't be surprised if abdominal, hysterectomy, partial cyst, something related to, female.
Yeah, and that's basically what we had Pluto as an answer in one of the charts. We were in the Princess Catherine show, so that can show reproductive. So I guess for the question, the answer is more. She may have other health issues, but for now, what we're focused on and what the doctors are focused on is something potentially more reproductive. So yes, yeah. maybe, but allegedly based on tarot cards, and that's our opinion. So Blue Heron thinks, do we think it could be a tummy tuck? I don't think so. All right. So well, thank you so much, Taurus Moon. And if you want a reading from, I shouldn't say Taurus Moon, Amber from Taurus Moon Tarot. If anyone wants a reading, you can go into the description and get Amber's email. And she does video readings, really good video readings. So definitely check her out. And anything else you want to add?
No, just thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
It's been a lot of fun, and I've really,
your viewers are so good. Yeah.
The cards I love how you do the different decks. It's so fascinating. So
yes, I really appreciate it.
So, all right, guys, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will talk to you again. I'm going to be on Monday night, and keep an eye on the community tab for the time. So talk to you guys soon.
Thanks so much.